even though she's the co-host, she's going to be the first speaker for today. You need to listen to this lady. The first time we had a meeting as the hosts of this summit. She started teaching me. We came for a meeting. Instead, she started teaching me and started teaching me parenting hacks. I said, oh, hold on, let's finish the meeting first. So I'm really excited that she's going to teach us all the things that she can't wait to share. She's just the best person to introduce this summit. So about Wunmi, give me a second. Let me tell you guys whom we have here with us. Give me a second. Okay. So Wunmi is a researcher. She is passionate about learning about the human life. She's an avid learner on everything from health to wealth and everything in between. She's a lover of kids and very passionate to see them grow into mentally and physically healthy humans. She has a heart for families, especially parents, because she knows firsthand what it means to be a mother and a father. It can be quite a lot on the human body and mind, especially with the increased rate of immigration and loss of people are raised and lots of people are raising kids without a village. She's a nature lover. She loves spending time outdoors in green spaces and oceans. I agree with that because I've seen lots of her pictures. She's a mom and a wife and a lover of life. So I'm so excited to welcome Wunmi, who will be teaching us about understanding your child's mental well-being. So I'm going to take the backstage now, and you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Izini. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the welcome again. So I just want to do something quickly. I'm not sure I can see people here. If you're here, can you just type hello or I or good afternoon or good evening? Can you type something so I can know that we're here and not just good? Thank you. I'm still waiting for others, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Adeoti Muhib. Thank you so much. Comfortella, good evening. Thank you so much, Rachel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Abisola Joy. Hello, Israel. Hello, Ms. Karim Freda. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the messages, so I'm able to know that I'm not alone here and you're here and that you're participating. Like Azine said, my name is my name is Wunmi, and this is my 7th year in teaching parenting, and it's been an interesting journey. So as an undergraduate, I studied computer science. So as an undergraduate, I knew that I loved it. Not even my life dated back to when I was a preteen, when I was 10, 11, 12. I loved speaking in debates at schools. I would represent my class. I was very good. I loved speaking and talking. And I wanted to join the art department when I got to GSS3, to the senior secondary school, when you now have to major. So I wanted to go to that, but my dad was like, no, you cannot. Back then, if you study hard, you're a dollar and all. And being the first child, I guess the classification. So he was like, no, you cannot. I was very sad. So, but still, I still really had a love for speaking and all. So when I finished secondary school, I didn't know what I wanted to study because it wasn't really, okay, I'd always wanted to study mass communication. But yeah, I was with a senior certification in sciences. And I wanted to get into the university as quickly as I could, like every kid. So I did my exams, got admission into Polytechnic in Osun State and in Nigeria. And I wanted to study. The other thing that I liked was also math. So I wanted to study math or computer science, but somehow a friend of mine said to me, why don't you study computer science? You have more options than math, which is interesting. So I studied computer science, and all through while I was studying computer science, I didn't really like it. I didn't enjoy it because it wasn't really much of talking. I only thrived when it was we had to present something like we had a topic, you had to Google it, you had to. I've always loved. Funny, I've always loved research from a long time. So the topics, the courses where I tried were the courses where we had to research on something and then we had to present it. Those were the courses that I thrived in. So I would search and I would present, and I always got done. I always did so well in my presentation and all that. Funny, it's hard looking at myself at the camera. Oh my words, will we concentrate? So I tried so much in all that. And then I got out. So while I was studying in school, I was like, okay, you know what? I still want to go back to my speaking thing. I want to speak. So as an undergraduate, I started doing internships in companies with public speakers, in different places, and I would go to events with my bosses and all. It was quite an amazing journey for me. And then one day I started motivational teaching. And then I just wasn't feeling fulfilled. Like I just felt like, no, this is not what I should do. So one day my husband came home and was explaining one of his colleagues' kid who didn't want to go to school, but the dad thought he was lazy. So the colleague was like, "Oh, he didn't want to go to school." So I said, "Oh, you have to go and you have to do this." So he did force the child to go to school. So as my husband was explaining that to me, I was just like, no, he should have listened to the child. He should have. I was heavily pregnant then. I was 7 months. And I was like, should have listened. He should have done this. And that was when I realized that this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a voice for children. I wanted to help parents. I wanted to communicate the mind of a child to the parent. And I started my company. And this is 7 years that I have been doing this, and I'm very thankful. And I have worked with a lot of families over the years, done conferences, done teachings, have lots of reviews. It's been an amazing journey. And like Dr. Izinye said, sometimes the cases you work with and the things you hear and the things you see can be somehow sad because you're like, oh my God, what is wrong? Where are parents going wrong? You see, so yeah. So today I want to talk about understanding child's mental well. If you're still here, it's going to be like an interactive class because I'm a teacher, I teach in schools, I teach kids. So I need feedback. So if you're still here, say still listening. So please start still listening if you're here and still listening to my story. Okay, so I'm waiting for you to type still listening if you're still here. Hello? Yeah. Okay, good. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. So now, so yeah, I just want to tell you a bit of my background before I started teaching kids. So yes, I am excited. So I want to talk. So let me tell you how I came by mental health. So like I said to you, I have started teaching parents. I've worked a lot with a lot of families online, a lot of families online, and I do a lot of one-on-one sections, a lot of trainings, and I started to realize that as much as I want, parents to understand their kids, I realized that, oh, if the marriage is not well, that they will not be able to actually understand the kids. So I started, learning about I'm an avid learner. I love learning. So I started learning and studying about marriage, started reading, started doing all sorts of things about to learn about marriage. And I started working with couples with judges also. I started doing marriage workshops and all of that. So then I realized also that it wasn't also, then I realized that, oh, I want people to focus on their marriage and their kids. It's not, it's about the person. It's about the person. If the person is not well mentally, then there's no way, or if the person is not happy internally, there is no way that they can actually, give their best to their kid and their partner. So I started learning about mental health, and it's been an amazing journey, and I'm part of quite the certifications in mental health. So I have studied mental health. It's a topic that is so dear to my heart. And it's so dear to my heart because it's a term that we didn't really know about. We were just living, you see. We didn't really know anything about mental health until a few years back, and the terms started coming out, all the terms and or depression, this started coming out. It's just a term that is coming up now. So I'm really passionate about mental well-being for grown-ups and for kids. So now the first way I actually want to explain mental well-being, mental health to you is this. So like I said, I'm a teacher. I teach kids in schools on mental health and self-esteem, and also I like being very practical. So I came to class with something. Trying to see if you can see me. So this is a banana. Can you see this is a banana? Where's my camera facing? Okay, so this is a banana. I want to use this banana to represent human beings. So this is human. This is the human. The flesh of this banana is the human body, is what we have now. My skin, my clothes, everything is my human body. So inside the banana is a lovely fruit. I'm gonna peel the banana now. It's this. Can you see this fruit? So this fruit is what is, like, it's the function of the skin. So this is this human body. Inside is the mental well-being. So this is my brain. My brain controls my entire body. Everything goes from here. How I act in life, how I move in life, how I do anything is controlled from here. So this thing here, this brown thing here is my skin. But what my mental health, after you unpeel this skin, my brain inside is the mental health, is what functions, is what controls everything about my life. So it's the same thing. The banana is the skin. The banana go is the mental health, or like the function. Is the reason why this banana is not that I want to eat the skin. I'm after the banana inside. So, yes, that's mental health. Your skin is the covering. Your what's inside, it's the mental health, your brain. And I recently heard a neurosurgeon say this, that your mental health is brain health. It's just simple like that. I like keeping things simple. Your mental health is brain health. So when you hear mental health, because now it's becoming like this thing, is just simply your brain health. Your brain health is your brain healthy. That's just what mental health means. So your brain controls a lot of things, and now we want to focus on your child's mental health. So when we were growing up, you see, we weren't allowed to do so many things. It was just like you grow up, you go to school, you clean the house, you cook, you do this, you do that, like you just do all sort of things that like a robotic function. So we didn't really know much about mental health. Like it wasn't something that it's a big deal, because even now I'm starting to understand certain terms. Like now, sometimes when I have reflection and go to my childhood, I remember, oh, this was what my mom was experiencing at this particular time, because my parents got divorced in the process. So this is what my mom was experiencing at this, but oh, it's actually this time. Oh, this was what was going on with me at this time. It was actually called coping mechanisms. So we're now starting to have the terminologies, but I'm not here to speak about terminologies. I'm just here to tell you that mental health is basically brain health. It's just that we only see the after effects. Like when my parents got separated, there was a lot of issues that happened, especially me being the first child. You see, there were a lot of, growing up that I had to quickly do, even though I didn't want it. And there was a lot of life adjustment that I had to adjust to. to like moving from a 3 bedroom to a 1 bedroom. It was quite a lot, and a lot of internal things were manifesting, but we didn't have the terms. What I'm trying to say now is like, in our African, and I'm particularly saying African because in our African society, we only see the effect. We don't say, oh, this child is misbehaving, or this child is not concentrating, or this child is just lazy, or this child is this, or this child is that, or is not focused. Because I remember growing up, my dad used to compare us a lot with our neighbors. And I say, oh, my neighbor's child, my this, my that, my your country is doing this, is doing that. But we only seeing all that effect, but you're not seeing what's going on at the back end. Like I said, this thing is what is controlling everything. So we're not seeing what is going at the back end, only seeing the after effect. So when this thing is not well, we tend to start exhibiting things. And it's just like if the body is not well, like last night I couldn't sleep so much because somehow I had a runny nose, and I was just sneezing and using all sort of things, trying to my body couldn't. I had a runny nose. I couldn't sleep well. Not sleeping well is the effect of the runny nose. So, but in kids, we see, okay, this is happening to this child, this is happening to this child, but there is something at the back end. Or sometimes we're just very quick to beat the kid because that's what a lot of African parents do. Like, we're very quick to beat the child and or quick to scream at the child, but we're not actually seeing what's going on at the end. So I also want to show you this thing. So this is a spot orange. Cameraman shows me this. I'm sorry, this is screen sensitive. So I was at the store a few days ago and I got some oranges for my kids for the vitamins. And I put it in the pack. I didn't take it out because I forgot it there. And then this evening, as I was trying to clear up, I saw the oranges. I was like, okay, let me put you in the fridge. And I saw this particular, and I said, yes, this is what I want to use to illustrate. So why I wanted to show you, sorry about the picture, why I wanted to show you the spot orange is for you to understand that the after effect of what's going on here, it's what shows on the outside. Before this orange starts to become like this, something is already happening on the inside, but I can only see the outside. You see, if I eat this now, I'm going to get sick. So this is just to only explain to you that a lot of sometimes the things that exhibit in children start from the inside. This was probably due to so much moisture, maybe because it was in the box. I didn't take it out. It was on the counter. It was there. They eat and everything was happening to it. I just didn't take it out. So I couldn't take it anymore. The funniest part was in the box I had I think 7 oranges. This was the only one that got spoiled. So some kids can, be okay with whatever is going on, and some kids do not. And this is what happened to the orange. This particular orange couldn't cope with this thing. So the inside is rotting, but I can only see the outside effect. But so in kids, sometimes we only see the outside, we do not see the inside. We're only saying, oh, this child is acting like this child is acting. So with this few points of mine, I hope I've been able to explain to you what mental health actually is. So I want to quickly talk about how can you help your child's mental health. I see I'm running out of time. So is that the first thing I want to talk about is in the African nature, because this is stress. I'm in Africa, so my focus is Africans. So now the first thing I want to talk about that a lot of us actually happened while we were growing up is our parents were very quick to dismiss us. Like we weren't heard. You see, we were not heard. I can tell you that as a mom and as a wife, sometimes I experience certain things, and my husband is like, "Why don't you tell me you're this? Why don't you tell me you're that?" And then maybe probably the what I do so much is when I'm sick. Aside being a mom, I always say moms don't have time to be sick. There's no time. But you can get sick anyway. But so what I'm saying is sometimes when I'm sick, I'm just like still up and doing, and I just push it through and all that kind of stuff. But my husband would be like, "Why don't you just tell me you're sick, or you have a tummy ache, or did?" But the thing is, I was not taught to talk about the things the way I feel. we our parents listen to us, but the way they actually listen is just so different, because you're just like, what do you have to say? They weren't really listening to us, you see. And that's one of the causes of mental health issues, or one of the, or let me say, behavioral issues. Now that one is more related, that one is simpler. You remember I said that the whatever is happening is what is going to exhibit. So now the child is exhibiting certain things, which is like, oh, he's behaving somehow, or ara ubale, like a nice Yoruba word, ara ubale, like it's too hyper. That's what a lot of Africans say. This child is so hyper. So so back to myself, I just wasn't taught how to actually hear, to listen. I wasn't actually taught to speak up, but I was expressing the way I was feeling. So now, being married and being a grown up now, it's quite difficult for me to actually say, this is how I feel, or I feel this way. I find myself working on trying to express the way I feel, because most of the time our parents are very quick to dismiss us, and our parents are very quick to say, oh, this is my own terrain, and this is how it's going to work, or I'm the boss of you. That's what a lot of African parenting do. Now we're in the modern world where a lot of African parents are becoming aware, and we're trying to do better, and we're having resources. We are getting there, but you find out that some of those African things are still ingrained. Like, for instance, when I speak to, I've got two boys, and sometimes when I'm speaking with my kids, I realize that sometimes that African mother thing just comes out. Like, it just basically just comes out because I'm African, and I was raised that way. So sometimes maybe my oldest son is acting somehow, saying something, and I'll be like, hey, don't let me bring out the Nigerian mother in me. Or sometimes I don't even say, the Nigerian mother in me just comes out, because it's been years of parenting that way. So it's ingrained, in us. It takes a lot of intent. If you look at my life is, well, the key word in my life is intentionality. I'm very intentional about everything that I do, where I go, how I spend my energy, where I relate with, where I work with. I'm very intentional about that. So what I'm saying is that if you're not intentional, you'll be very quick to dismiss your child. And that's one of the things that happen when your child starts exhibiting behavioral problem. And behavioral problem starts with this, comes from here. So now we're very quick to dismiss our children. So please, let's not be quick to dismiss our children, even though we live in such a, hey, economy is not smiling. My brothers and sisters, like, the economy is not smiling at all. Like, things are quite expensive. So I understand, because I'm a mom. And as much as I love what I do, and I'm like, oh, do it this way, or do it this, I'm very practical, and I'm very honest, because I know that parenting, the economy is not smiling, and there's a lot of things that we have to pay. We have to pay for this, we have to feed them, we have to clothe them, we have to do this. So the patience of a parent can be quite slim, but still, you still, that's where the word intention comes into place. You still have to make sure that you pay attention to your child as much as you can. You are not dismissing your child and say, well, I don't want to hear what you're saying, or this is my, like, for instance, when I was growing up, and there were certain things that I wanted to try, and my dad would be like, no, you can't try that. No, I want to eat, and then you must eat. Or I remember when I was trying to make my mom change the seasoning that she uses in her food. We call it Maggi in Nigeria. So, like, I was like, Mom, why don't you use this one? She was used to a particular brand. And I remember, she said, when you're grown up in your own house, you can use whatever. But in my own house, this is what I use. So those were instances of me trying to explain to my parents, and they were not actually listening to me. So you see, sometimes parenting are always like that. We're quick to dismiss. Now I want to be very quick. I'm fast with what I'm saying. And the first thing, don't be quick to dismiss your child, because those things affect internally. The child starts to act somehow. There's a lot of processing that this brain. There's a lot. There's this one is called that it's a lot of big words that you have in the brain, and each one of them have different function. Each one of them, the pleasure one, the this one, the stressed one. So there are different functions that happens in there. So when you dismiss your child too much, there are many things that are going on at the back end that's processing in the head, and then you start seeing the child act out. So please try not to so dismissive of your children. Try as much, in like 10 to 10, try to be like 6 or 7. non-dismissive of your child, please. The next thing that I want to say is that saying I love you to your child. A child that is well knows that he or she loves is loved, is a stable child, is a child that is less prone to behavioral issues, or a child that is prone to mental whatever or disorder or whatever. So please always make sure that your children know that they are loved. And you have to say I love you to your children, even though we think that, oh, we love our children. As Africans, we're not used to saying that those words. We're not used to saying I love you. But you have to, because they're kids. They're little kids. They don't know. They only see us being busy and busy and busy and busy and working and doing this and doing that, but they don't know. But sometimes the simple things that, oh, I love you. Oh, I remember I love you. Oh, I love you. 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 Then it gets ingrained in their mind that even if my mother is stressed out or even my father is stressed out, he loves me. You see, so it's something that you have to say to your children. The other thing that I want to say is too much screen time. Screen time is good, but too much of it is not good. You see, we allow our children to watch too much screen, and it's not good because you are consuming. You're consuming. Now, I'm laughing because when I started seeing myself, my reflection in the camera is just funny for me because I'm not used to screens. So I watch screens, I watch movies, but it's not something that you would see me sit. So I barely really even see my face, to be honest. So too much screen time is not good because you're allowing your child to consume too much media. There's too much going on. Cartoons, eh? I don't know, maybe it's been like that in our own days or in these days. But now, these days, cartoon, you'll be surprised at the things that are displaying in these cartoons, the many messages that are being passed, the scary messages. Even if you cross over to YouTube Kids, my dear brothers and sisters, YouTube Kids is not also 100% safe. Or maybe YouTube, you allow ads, and then you'll be surprised at the ads that play when your child is watching YouTube or whatever cartoon that your child. Too much screen time is good. Too much screen time is good, but too much of it is not good. So do not allow your children to watch too much screen time. It's after, because then they start to, experience it. For instance, I'll give you one. I remember there was this cartoon that my child was watching, and the parent was displaying so much presents, so much this. They have cars, they have this, they have that. All this real life kids cartoon where the kids were doing unboxing of this unboxing. Even me as the parent, as I was watching, I was cringing because it started making me feel like, oh, my child has less toys. So imagine a child consuming all that information and is looking at his or her house and saying how many toys do I have. There's so much in the media that is going out, because the views, the more people, they make it so addictive and interesting so that your children can watch it. So we have to make sure that the screen time your child is watching is not so much. I'm not one that will say, oh, don't watch screen, because sometimes as parents, screens are the only things that we allow our children to, so that we can have peace of mind. Just go and watch. But me in my home, there are certain times where I'm like, that's enough screen time, guys. I switch off the TV, let's go play. Let's go outside, let's go and play, or let's play with toys, let's do. And sometimes I let them, but I watch what is. It's just a mix of balance, guys. So please, the last thing that I want to say is sleep. You'll be amazed the way sleep is very, very important in your child's mental health, in your child's behavior. Sleep is just the key. As a kid, we weren't really taught about, oh, sleep. We're just like, oh, we go to sleep when we're tired. But the thing, you should not even go to sleep when you're tired. You should go to sleep because your body needs it, or you need your body to function well. So I just want to quickly say this, that I want to give you the hours of sleep that every human should meet. First of all, if you have a 1 to 3 year old, your child should be sleeping 11 to 14 hours in a day, including naps. 1 to 2 year olds, 11 to 14 hours in a day. 3 to 5 year old, 10 to 13 hours in a day, including naps. 6 to 12 years old, 9 to 12 hours in a day. 13 to 18, 8 to 10. Adult, minimum of 7. Adult to 7, between 7 and 9. So I want to say quickly again: 1 to 2, 11 to 14, 3 to 5, 10 to 13, 6 to 12, 9 to 12 hours, 13 to 18, 8 to 10, adults 7 to 9, between that gaps. So this is how I do my kids' sleep time. I look at the time I want them to go to sleep. I look at the time I want them to wake up. So I calculate the period of time. we did get the amount of time they are supposed to sleep. Sleep is very important for your child to focus. Now we're having a lot of kids having ADHD, ADD. I'm not saying that lack of sleep is what is causing ADD or ADHD, but I'm just telling you that ADD and ADHD is just attention deficit. Like we cannot concentrate in school, and there's a lot of biological things at the back end. But what I'm trying to say is that sleep is very important for your child to focus, because as parents, especially African parents, we really want our children to do well in school. Like, oh, I want my child to succeed academically. So screen time, sleep is very key. A child that sleeps well is a child that lacks behavioral problem. One of the ways to reduce your child's behavioral problem is to make sure that they sleep well. Thank you so much for listening. So I think I have 5 minutes left for questions. So if you have any questions or ask me before the next speaker comes on, please let me know.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Wumi. Wow, you highlighted so many things. Let me just summarize all the things you've said. So the first one you talked about, don't be quick to dismiss your child. While I'm saying this, if you have any question, please ask in the comments so that Wumi can use the remaining minutes she has to answer the question. And then, okay, don't be quick to dismiss your child. And say I love you, not too much screen time, and then sleep. These are really really important. These are very very important. And okay, people are saying thank you, thank you, thank you. That of not being too quick to dismiss your child is something that is so common, especially when we are stressed as parents. Imagine you've come back from work really tired, and then your child is coming to you to tell you maybe about their day in school or something that just happened. The first thing you're going to do is leave me alone, or no, no, next time. When you keep dismissing your child like that, they are going to find someone else to be expressing themselves to, and before you know it, you're losing your child. They are forming
Mm-hmm.
behaviors maybe from advice that someone else has given them, and then you're wondering, who is this child, who is this person under my roof? So it's really really essential that we are not quick to dismiss that child. Wumi mentioned the word intentionality. So when that child comes to you, remind yourself that you have to be intentional to listen first and not to dismiss first. So listen first, even if it sounds silly. You're just creating that space where they can tell you things. I know that most of us grew up thinking of saying things like, when I have my own children, I'm going to make sure my children can tell me things, can express themselves to me. But this is how it begins. If you keep dismissing them, you're not going to achieve that goal. And then that's of sleep. Oh my God, it's very important. I know that there are some families, what they do is when a child is sleeping, they'll be like, wake up, wake him up, let him eat. Wake him up, let him eat. Wake up, let her eat. See, I know that eating is good, okay, especially for a child that went to bed really hungry. But if you know that hunger is not the main thing at the moment, let that child sleep, because you don't want, even you that is an adult, if somebody wakes you up when you're still sleeping, you're going to feel really cranky, really angry. That someone interrupted your sleep. So also think about children that same way. Okay, think about children that same way. So there is a question for you. What do you mean by ADD? Ma?
So
I think
there
that's
is but it's more coming up with, like, okay, so the one thing that I see that the Western world has more than we do is access to knowledge and information. So they are very quick to access knowledge and the research and all the things. So there's something called attention deficit disorder. ADD is just attention deficit disorder. It's starting to come up now in children. All these children were like, oh, this child is hyperactive, or this child cannot focus in school. This child does not know book. Let me use it as my Nigerian word. The Nigerian people say this child does not know book. These things that we see now, research, the white people are starting to find terminologies for these things. So some of the terms that has come up now is, oh, a child that is like this, like this, like this, has attention deficit disorder. So that's what ADD means. But what I actually mean is that sometimes some of these things that we see are actually just lack of certain things that parents are lacking. So another person says, how about a child that shows lots of trends and the only social for you as a mother is just to play cartoon, but you said to mother, oh, I'm an advocate of cartoons. You see, when a child is throwing tantrum, you have to there's always a reason, to be honest. When children do in fact, even as adults, there's a reason when children misbehave. There's a reason why certain things happen. So if a child is throwing tantrum, like for me, if my child is throwing tantrum, as my younger child is throwing tantrum, I first ask, is it hungry? Is it sleepy? Has it made a poop? That's my 2-year-old. I've got a 2-year-old. So that's the first thing I ask myself. Is he hungry? Is he sleepy? If I see that he's very impatient with his brother, or he's not sharing things, because I teach my children how to share things. If I see he's not sharing things, he's impatient, he's just doing whatever, I ask myself, is he sleepy? Is he hungry? Is it has he made a poop? Or if I see there's okay, you and most of the time I find out that there's out of those three, one of it has happened. It's either he has made a poop that I didn't see, or he's hungry, or somehow. So tantrums sometimes are like an expression of what is happening to the child. So first of all, try to find the cause. But then, because even if you put the screen time, it works, but still, there's still the cause. You haven't figured out the cause. You've only distracted the child, you see. But you also need to calm your child down. So screen time works for children throwing tantrum. I use it also. We're always trying to, distract calm our children down. What I'm saying is that don't let your child watch cartoon 8 hours, 6 hours, non stop, non stop. So please let them take breaks in between. That's what I mean.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Is the child hungry? Is the child feeling sleepy? And then again, one thing I noticed about my daughter is that sometimes when she's throwing such tantrums, she's seeking attention. So sometimes she just wants
Yeah,
you to
that's
hug.
another thing.
When you hug her, she's fine. But when she's not getting that attention, she gets really frustrated. And children don't really know how to express certain emotions.
Yeah,
So the
that's
only thing they know is like different tantrums. So try to figure out what exactly is going on here. That's part of understanding your child in order to relate better with them. But if you give them cartoons, as Wumi said, you're just distracting them from the real issue. It will be difficult for you to really understand your child. So we have more questions here. Thank you, Wumi, for this presentation. Question is, how best can we make these children our friends without spoiling them?
so it's a tricky question, because that question has to do with you personally. So like for instance, your child is a reflection of you. You see, I find out sometimes when my older son has play dates with his friends or has a party or something, I realized I don't want to use strict, I'm a firm parent. That's the word I use for myself. So I'm starting to see, oh, I don't take this, I don't allow this, I don't allow this. Because I've learned to work on myself to be firm. So saying you want to be your child's friend without spoiling them is sometimes we have to work on ourselves first, and we have to be sensitive. You see, I believe in the two cohabiting. I'm my child's friend. That's the number one job for me. I'm my child's friend and I'm my child's guardian and parent, because I need to make sure that my child comes to me, and I also need to make sure that anyway, then I think the next speaker said how to be your child safe space. So that's the thing the next speaker is gonna talk. I don't want to delve into our topic because she's equally very good. So
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we have lots of questions here. And the next speaker is already in the background waiting to join
Yes.
in. And
Mhm.
let me just put
Yeah.
this one. This is not a question, but it's really, really important. You know that I know that there is no specific figure, but so many female children, especially in Africa, have undergone sexual abuse. And this is one of the
Mm.
reasons. The parents didn't listen, and the parents created that space where it was difficult to express ourselves or to call out people that were behaving in certain ways to us. So that's why it's really important. That first point that Wumi said, you have to be really patient to listen to that child. No matter how angry you are or stressed out you are, just be patient. For every other question we have, please just be patient. We have the next speaker that is coming to talk about being a safe space for your child. She's already in the background. Thank you so much, Wunmi. Thank you. I knew you would do justice to this topic. I knew it.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate you. So you're still the
So one
co-host.
quick question before we bring the next speaker. How do I go to the background? Do I stop my camera or?
Okay, don't worry. I will quickly do that now. Um, So, guys, oh my God, I know that we have lots of questions from Wumi's session. I'm really, really, really sorry that we won't be able to take it, but